Hi guys, I cannot see anything other than Kitty standing right between me and the monitor, so you can tell in which position I am. But let me put the music on as I am still creating, making my coffee, and that way we can also gather and then we can go and start doing something fun. Today I'm going to use Morgan Greeter, and I'll be clarifying this with possibly gypsy cards and Lenormand. Let me think about it. So here's the music until we all get together. Safi, who is coming? Safi, is it good luck for everybody? Show up your pretty face. Show up your pretty face. Safi, I cannot see the screen. Safi, I cannot see anything. Oh my God, Safi. I cannot see anything. No, I cannot see anything. No, no, no. Good morning, and happy Saturday. Let's see, we have a few people, 5. Well, we're going to have a party and a blast. How is everybody? I'm just waiting my coffee to brew. I do my coffee no pods because that goes into dolphins' mouth and whales, but rather I just do it in the French press, and that way I can mix my own coffee. And since I'm drinking decaf, I kind of really like to do that. Okay, so what basically I have to summarize. The Mercury retrograde was horrible for me. You know how they talk about traffic accidents? Well, how about the doggy accidents? I had yet another one. This time, tiger was attacked and the woman was very callous. You know how they say, well, Canadians are so freaking nice? Yeah, think again. I got F you and F off, and I had to call the cops, and I put the posters trying to find who is this woman to pay the vet bills, and then I got her boyfriend threatening me. So that was like a really lovely week for me, very much Mercury retrograde. And then I did manage to squeeze also Aquarian reading last night just to see what the heck is going on, and it confirmed it's a freaking hell. Good news, guys, it is going to start to be lesser impact after the 19th, and we will all be able to breathe kind of like better. Generally, Mercury retrograde affects the most Gemini and Virgo because they are ruled by Mercury, but also can affect fixed signs, right? Aquarius pretty much always by default, because if you ever studied Tree of Life, you will see the Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius, is ruling Mercury. So that's where this comes from. So today is not going to be as long as yesterday, and thank you, Chris. It sounds so lovely that this is your favorite Saturday morning pastime. Actually, that sounds really wonderful. So what I'm going to do is going to be much shorter. It's going to be quick and sweet, so that way I can actually have some time to squeeze in a few more these readings for Mercury retrograde, because I think some people are very confused. Jobs will be lost. So basically what's going to be happening, just to give you a quick summary, it entered, what is it, 9th? I think it's until 31st, where it's basically the core of it. But we have the shadow. What does it mean? It kind of like moves, and because it's kind of like from our positioning looking like it's going to go this way, it looks like it's standing still, right? So, and then it starts to retrograde and then goes forward. It still has to go out of that kind of like particular kind of shadow, and that's where this whole freaking confusion happens. But we have the other retrogrades happening, and it's very heavy. For some of us, it's going to be problem with interpersonal relationships. For the others, problems with authorities, transportation, or anything that kind of like walks on two or looks like even four legs, it might be affected. And I guess Tiger is a Scorpio, so there is another fixed sign. He has been attacked by this Great Dane. They're supposedly to be big gentle giants, but oh my gosh, the Great Dane wanted to take his frisbee away and attack him viciously. So that was horrifying. Another thing that this also can, because it's Mercury retrograde is in Leo, and Leo is a very proud, very big sign, where, you know, the drama can be much bigger than it should be, right? So let's say in my case, instead of this woman just providing me her information and pay the bill, now I had to go through the police, I had to go through the courts, and it's going to be 10 or 20 times worse. And I bet you anything that the court case will be scheduled during the Mercury retrograde as well, because Mercury retrograde makes us clean our plate. So maybe we should look in the positive, that this is the time that we really need to kind of like clean things. And one of the things that we can clean is how do we respond to things, right? I mean, I realized in me, I got really triggered with this and I was upset for days. But I realized that this is conditioning like that I have in how I quote unquote should be responding. And that's because I'm learning through this whole shamanic studies that I have to, that anything more than 90 seconds is something that you are doing. So that is like something I really have to look into that. So let's start with Cancer, because it is their birthday and they didn't get their X reading, and I did get complaints. But how about my complaints? That you guys, that you just have to do things. Please click on like, please share, and please comment. That's pretty much it. So good morning to everybody. Let's start with Cancer. I'll be using, as I said, Morgan Greer. I love this deck. It's my favorite deck, and I really wish that all tarot decks come in a small edition, because I have small hands. I would say regular to small, and I kind of like really prefer decks that kind of like can be quickly and easily shuffled. But even though I also like the larger format, because then the artwork is nicer as well, but then it feels like having a freaking salad and lettuce leaves on my table when I'm putting that, right? Even this other deck that I was using recently, what is this called, Ethereal Tarot, which I really like, the one that is Art Deco, right? But look at the comparison in size between the two, so you can kind of like understand what I'm talking about. Okay, Cancer, Creative Girl, because, well, Creative Girl, this is exactly the point. And you know, like I get triggered on that as well, and I'm not going to get triggered anymore, promise. Like people go, I don't want my ex to come back. Well, in the beginning of every reading, I said this is only for the people, you know, like there is like this twin flame connection. There is like this connection that people have, and they're mulling it over. Why am I thinking about this person 20 years later or 1 month later? But that's because there is like usually that elastic band, the karmic bond still holding. So it is like good for people who maybe otherwise would not get contacted, because people move on with their lives even though the emotions are still there, but they still can get understanding. So it's a very basically healing series. But it's not for the people who basically have that kind of like bone cut off. They cut the cord. So why are you blasting me that you don't want your ex back when, no, not you, I'm not telling you, you're clearly like, I'm not watching it, this is not for me. So that's basically how it should be. So that's a big difference, right? So let's go. Happy birthday to Cancers. And you're already getting a card. You're getting Five of Swords reversed, which is good. Cancers, have you been involved in some kind of like bickering? Have you been involved in a situation where, you know, it could have been three people where maybe you wanted to win some kind of battle? This actually could be connecting your work situation. You're having Hierophant, the next card. Maybe you were looking for a promotion and somebody is doing something behind your back that you actually are not aware of. This also can represent a boss. Maybe you had either issue with your boss or you are fuming inside. If this is the case, I advise you unfume really quickly because this person is picking up on it. You know what they say, that only like 10 to 15% of communication is verbal. Everything else is nonverbal. Have you ever sat next to the person and you said to yourself, oh boy, I better sit on the other side of the room? Right, that's the case. Somebody here is like extremely ticked off, and look at this, and it feels extreme injustice that has happened. This could have also applied to relationship. I do see, because the King of Swords can sometimes represent a judge. It can represent somebody really being harsh. And Cancer and Swords, ooh, you know, it's kind of like really weird. Just imagine you are like fishing and you're pushing the swords and prying this in. So it's a really harmful feeling, though. It is like something that is going to change, and it almost like sounds to me, you know what they say, hit the rock bottom, where you feel like, oh my god, everything is coming, everything. Some of you might be having problems with children. Some of you might be having relationships on the rocks, and even considering divorce or split, or has been a recent split. It looks like, given that you are having these two cards, that you are going to actually land on your feet in a really nice way. These are two extremely positive cards. Look at it. In this deck, we do not see a child. In this deck, we actually see a couple, all sorts of children couple. And to me, this is even more important because it signifies innocence, right? And we see the Fool. Both of them have the Sun. It's kind of like really interesting because I had this dream that I had to, in a dream, I was telling myself, when you wake up, you have to figure out how the matrix, this matrix where we live in, is positioned. And you will get that by rubbing your eyes. It's ridiculous, right? When you think about it in a logical way. But I said, okay, I rub my eyes. What's going to cost me doing that? So I rub my eyes and really interesting things happen. And I'm telling you this because it's actually linked with the Sun. First, I actually did see the grid. I literally see the grid. You know, like when you see this architectural kind of like 3D kind of like setups, the whole kind of like net, that kind of like shown like all this LSD kind of like stuff, like rubbing my eyes. And then I opened my eyes and said, oh, this is it. And then I, being a scientist myself, I said, let me see if I do that again, if this is going to be able to be replicated, right? So I did it, and this time I actually didn't see squares and rhombs and all this rhomboids kind of features that I saw the first time, but I did see actually circular shapes, also very geometrical. And then the circular shapes were a whole bunch of small ones, and all of a sudden, like a big one that almost looked like Eye of the God, almost like a actually snake eye, if you really wish, that kind of like had that slit, but sideways, not the up and down like cats or snakes have it, or sharks, right? And it was not threatening at all, and it felt like this bubbling sun. It was very yellow with that stuff in the middle being kind of beige, and it pulsed and pulsed, and it gave like this huge, enormous, peaceful energy. And then I realized, wait a minute, the sun is the matrix. That's what it is. and everything that we have probably does not exist past it, because it's almost like some kind of like Truman Show depository. So I really think, given that this association came here strongly, that you had quote unquote one matrix, meaning you have been dealing with things a certain way, and you maybe have learned it in a childhood, but you're going to look at things completely differently from now on. You're having this powerful combination of the sun and the fool. To me, that can only mean moving forward, taking a new leap, trying completely different things. It's almost like, I don't know if you ever watched Seinfeld, now you know my age, right? Well, George Costanza says, well, everything that I do just turns to basically crap, right? So now I'm going to do opposite of what I want to do. And all of a sudden he was successful, he was getting chicks, it was hilarious. I don't know if you guys are going to do opposite, but I do see that you'll be patching the things up in a relationship, for those of you who, especially who have been bound by a ring or kind of like living arrangements. And it kind of like you are going to drop your swords and going to take this like new leap of faith and kind of going in a new direction. So my Cancer, hopefully this helps. Neurally, does the twin flame connection ever end? Yes, when you cut the cord. Exactly then. Both parties have to cut a cord. And how do you cut a cord? You know, sometimes people have hard time to let go. People would, I mean, we all do, right, to some extent. Just think about, for those of us who had relatively happy childhood, because I think in the society we are all being told to find something bad with it, right? But let's say we had regular childhood, like no big kind of like waves. And then we kind of like go back and retrieve these memories, your first love and, you know, the school events and stuff. And somehow this stays, oh, this was so wonderful. This is this wonderful world, you know, and then you go to some kind of like next level. It's like, you know, like this whole movement of this populace, like, let's go in the 50s, everything was great. No, it wasn't. In the 50s, women have been medicated with Valium because they hated their lives staying at home as housewives, being all preppy with high heels waiting for husband. It was like freaking awful. It was awful for men who had to work like 12 hours a day to kind of like come put food on the table. There was like no connection between people. So same way we sometimes get stuck ourselves, and we keep that flame going, you know, like same as a fire, you put this flame going. Twin flames, in my opinion, and many people will disagree with me. Yes, Safi, do you disagree with me? Really? Why? You believe in twin flames? Do you have a twin flame? Who is it, Matrix? Tiger? Somebody else? Me? Ah, there you go. Sometimes you come in life as a cat to actually really get the twin flame to give you all the love that you deserve. So guys, I don't particularly think the twin flames are a great thing. I think twin flame is almost like a co-product of different reaction. It could be, and I find a difference between twin flame and karmic relationship or karmic flame. I'm offline. Am I offline? Are you guys seeing me? Okay, it's coming back. Twin flame to me, it's toxicity basically, where the love that once there was that maybe didn't end well keeps on going, and sometimes we created that ourselves. And actually, in majority of the cases, how? When you are breaking up in a relationship, in that moment when you're very highly emotionally charged, and you say, oh, you know, in the next life, or, you know, I wish, you know, some other time we resume this. You are making that implied promise to karma. And karma says, okay, I'm going to introduce them to you. And introduced to you like via a different person, the soul just enters in and out, or, you know, like a different situation. Where karmic twin flame, you write in your own chart and you say, oh, look, if I get hooked on drugs, then come in my life and make sure I hit the rock bottom. Usually it's like that's much easier to push it down than up, and that way I wake up, right? Because they're there just simply to derail you, really simply, and it leaves a lasting impression. So Safi was here giving us her opinion. Cancer got this. So yeah, I don't know. Like I'm seeing, as far as videos, people are commenting, Steve, I'm seeing the red. It says stream held video output low. This is YouTube. This is Mercury retrograde. I'll try to refresh it on my. Hello, Heidi. I'm trying to refresh it on my end. And who will do next? Next we'll do Leo's, because it is a Leo Mercury retrograde and they have been really good. So I refreshed it. It's still red. Let me grab my coffee just for a second, and hopefully this improves. Steffi, you want a coffee? Want a coffee? Huh? Want a coffee, Chef? What's up, Chef? What's up, Chef? Ooh, nice coffee. Nice coffee. I have to show you guys, I made my own probiotics. I'm so proud of myself. I have to show you this. Look at this. This is one of my 3 batches of probiotics. It's called SBRD. SBRD cleans candida. It remedies brain fog. It remedies IBS, stress, how you react to things. It actually helps with your immune system and allows gut to be able to heal itself. This is all part of my shamanic ritual. So let me put this back in the fridge, and we will start with Leo. Okay, Leo. Okay, Shafi. Yes, these eclipses are really, really hard. Heidi, yes, this triggering is really, really important when it comes to twin flames, right? And you simply have to say, you know what they say, love is kind. You can say, I'm releasing it with love. Thank you, but I don't need this anymore. I'm doing this kind of spiritual or shamanic studies. I had to do this exercise when I was releasing all of these promises, all of the charts, everything. So kind of like clean slate. And I guess I need to kind of like do this like hard drive erasement a few more times. So I'm proud of me, and they're like too, like, oh my gosh, like, I mean, I didn't even know this is possible that we can do it, but so it is. So we have King of Pentacles, we have Ace of Rods. King of Pentacles good, Ace of Rods probably good. Well, let me tell you why. Generally not a good card when it reverses, but I want to get a third one before I tell you. 10 of Pentacles reversed. So now, Leos, have you been preparing yourself to get married or to go into something serious? Because that's what this King of Pentacles would suggest. You're watching from this standpoint, Heavy, huh? Kissy kiss. So yeah, she's like just blocking, like literally in my way. I'm here, she's here. So this King of Pentacles to me is a very serious dude. This dude is meaning business. He is a good investor, right? He invests into people who he wants to have around him. A long-term dude, a long-term guy. So he would most likely have investments in gold and in kind of like ore, rather than, let's say, some kind of like techie business. He would not be investing in online companies. This person might have his own business. He might be a banker or a CEO of some kind of kind. He really is really sharp dresser. It's not going to be something crazy, even though at times it could be, depending on the other stuff. But he would be very kind of classical. It would be maybe subdued colors, but it would be a very expensive material. Not because, partially because he likes expensive things, but also because he knows, well, this is a good investment, right? So generally pentacles represent earth signs, and earth signs kind of like have those qualities as well, kind of like very grounded. And to me, this dude is the ultimate husband, because you want somebody who kind of like, hey, you know, let's kind of gather together, let's have this peaceful meal together, let's do it. Let's kind of like now work hard so we'll be able to play hard, right? So whether or not you're letting this person go for some reason, or there are two things happening at the same time, it's going to depend on your situation, right? Because this is sort of a spiritual reading, right? So Lulu, you're really like, I mean, stuck on this ugly duckling. I was thinking about doing an ugly duckling analysis, and I'm really thinking about doing that because I think you would really enjoy it. It's many of us can really find ourselves at some parts of that story. And it's also good not to look through the eyes of the other animals than just ugly duckling. So this, guys, usually means about the return of somebody, and you clearly don't want it. You're saying, you know what, let's bygones be bygones, kind of a thing. Because look at this. This dude would be like this. Let me create this castle for the two of us. Whatever that proverbial castle is to you. You know, we together. But this card is not so much about love. This much is more like about being good on paper, right? Because this person is looking for his mate more on that level, right? Pentacles are looking, okay, does this make sense to time with this person? Which in a sense kind of like is probably better than how air signs are looking for. They're looking for somebody interesting, and that interesting could be a freak, right? And it is most of the time. So this is, as I said, grounded approach, but this 10 of Pentacles is reversed, which tells me something really creepy is maybe happening. Maybe you wanted to get, you know, married to this person, and, you know, maybe person was married to somebody else and hence it couldn't happen. Maybe this person kind of like changed. Hi Heidi, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Maybe this person was, oh my god, you know, you put this person on a pedestal, and now you're like waking up from a dream, and you're saying, what the heck was I thinking, right? Maybe and you, Leos, and let's talk about you love this gorgeous glory and people treating you well, right? It's not that you demand this, like that would be more earth signs, right? But you are like more like, I enjoy this. After all, you like your pedestal, you're a Leo, you're king of the jungle. And wait a second, because I'm hearing Tiger pulling something apart. Is it a toy tiger or a bag? What is it? It's a toy. It's okay. He's just ripping the toy apart. I want to make sure that baby doesn't choke himself. So this person was appealing to you because maybe something has been happening. I don't know. Was there an involvement of a younger woman? It says young woman, which is clearly as it is. This would be, you know, the gentleman or grand seigneur in Gypsy in Veresibila. So this could be that you it's a Mercury retrograde. You're dealing with some crap from the past. It's clearly you're dealing. If you don't have anybody you're dealing with, then you are dealing with, what do I want to do? Do I really want to hook up with somebody, or do I want something steady? And who is this person? Is this person going to be committed to me in a way I want him or her to be committed? And is sort of like you're letting yourself on a path of analysis and looking into what has got you stuck in the past. So it can be a week that can kind of like get on your nerves, I really have to say. Especially because right now, Leos, I'm already feeling your energy. It feels like, you know, kind of starting the car before you go, like, because your birthdays are coming up very soon, and these big readings will be coming up in that glory conversation. So it's going to be a conversation, and it's going to be a conversation regarding this person, whether it's going to be about the ideal person or about a person who basically screwed you over, or about something that were just like falling illusion or going in the wrong direction. It is going to clearly be a discussion with a whole bunch of people whom you know. And look at this, like she's sitting surrounded with all these, are they all women? I would say they're all women over here, but of course it doesn't have to mean that, right? It could be clearly people you know, because that's what I would conclude from this scene, right? And generally, like, I mean, this tells me when we speak to people who are close to us that you need some kind of like soft place to fall. Also, this could mean that could be some kind of let's say reunions or family reunions, more or less, right, with friends and loved one. But this card is reversed, so this could be regarding the lack of clarification. This could be that you are pulling all this kind of like loose ends together, and kind of like maybe the conversation is needed with somebody outside, such as, tarot reader or therapist or coach, where you just clean the slate kind of a thing, right? So I don't know, maybe you had kind of like stormy events, maybe, because this card in the other systems would be Ace of Hearts. This would be Ace of Hearts. That would be this Ace of Cups, if you're really aware. So keep that in mind, right? So this also could mean that you might find and get some news that can do two things at the same time. Just like my probiotic that I did, it has a really weird taste. It has disgusting taste, actually. But you really have to work on your positive attitude, because initially when you do it, it tastes like a jam, right? Until it starts to ferment. And then it ferments, it's kind of like this weird alcohol fermented taste, right? It's like, just imagine yogurt and fruit actually is not a bad idea, but I don't know what to tell you, like something that really doesn't mix. So I'm really focusing whenever I'm like using it in the morning, just to, I said to myself, just think about fruit, just think about the peaches you put it in there, nothing else. So this kind of like gives me this duality here as well, that in this duality you kind of like, there's like some kind of like shared things that you had with this person, and maybe there is like even a shared property that somehow some money or something will come to the fore, or you lost money, or you wanted somebody, or you were not treated properly. So that's going to be on you, but do not rest until the air has been cleared, because communication is really essential to resolve problems. Sometimes you do get closure, sometimes you don't get closure, and it seems to me you'll be mulling over some old crap, or setting up what does work and what doesn't work in your life. So thank you. Steve, what sign are you? I had an interesting read, but I'm already feeling where this reading is heading, and not at all in a negative way. Yay. Hi Barbie. My Barbie is like so freaking sweet. I don't really need cards to tell you what's going to come up, but it helps me to give and lay down the narrative. And when I see your next, just like I don't see you like you don't see me, but I can pick up your energy. I don't know if you guys can pick up my energy. It would be interesting. Most likely I would say yes, because people who are coming here, oh, Leo cat, cute. So Steve, tell us how much this resonated for you, because it gave me quite a few messages for quite a few Leos, and that's possibly because you Leos have been clicking like crazy. A cup of coffee, guys. Is everybody else having a coffee right now? You see, Chris is also having his 2 cents. That sounds really, really good. All right. So who I will do next? Where is my list here? The next one is Sagittarians. Sagittarians. Saggies. Started to clear the air with ex-Cancer. Oh, I see. I think that clearing the air is going to be really important, but there's like one thing that is really important for all of us to understand and really open my eyes, because in this reading I see you did that, and I can discover I have people that I do detective work for them, and we did find stuff that had happened like 10-15 years ago, right? But through these shamanic studies, I'm learning how internally I can change myself so my vibration could be completely different, including changing based on science, brain, and that requires some heavy duty doses of antioxidants and kind of like what he calls it the passwords to kind of like enter this protected area of the brain, where you all of a sudden, instead of continuously looking for a new partner, you actually are finding how you are the perfect partner. So all of a sudden you're magnetized to attracting that, or making other people around you change. And everything that I have learned in psychology was like, well, people do not change, you change. And this kind of like almost like fits together. Sagittarius, there you go. Barbie's like pushing. Come on, come on, come on. That's it. Barb, proactive whip. I don't mind this. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. Sagittarius. People at work can listen. Thank you very much. That's so lovely. So Sagittarius, you're having Knight of Cups. Sagittarius. Oh, if I really find you myself, feel somehow an excitement from your energy. Thank you so much. I'm like a child. I really have to tell you, my energy is like very transparent, and I'm not one of those people who you will never know what they think and they're mulling it over. You're always going to hear what they think, and I'm always very expressive, I guess extroverted, right? So you have lots of cards, Sagittarians. What the heck is going on? You have a karma card here. You have, where is my pen? 1, 2, 3, 4 majors. Okay, man, come on, guys. Majors are, you must do that. You know, when you bring the child to the table and you're going to eat your broccoli, you're not leaving the table. It's kind of like sort of things, but all of them are good. All of them are good. So there is a woman in your life. She could be a fire sign, or there is a man in your life who could be fire sign or water sign, that they see where either this is going to be a new leap of faith, or there's like a new person that is coming, or old person that is coming and refreshing something that has been. Because you have Justice, you have the Lovers, you have the Star. This is like very exciting. This is very, very powerful. Even though you really are not given options. Seven of Cups is a card that talks about options. And it's like somebody saying, you know, like imagine sitting in the ice cream shop, and I sometimes like to sit alone, even though I'm extrovert. I go alone in a coffee and in a coffee shop, and I watch people. I call it people watching. I like it as much as animal watching. Tiger, leave Matrix alone. Poor Matrix put himself in a hole that he cannot fit in. Can you hear that hissing? Hey, stop it. Stop it. Down, buddy. Down, buddy. Good boy. And then you're watching one ice cream, a second ice cream, third ice cream. Next thing you know, you're losing even any interest in kind of like even continuing with this. And that's what is happening in this card. This card, especially when it's upright, it kind of like talks about this daydreaming. Usually when we are children, we have these daydreams. And even though Tarot will tell you have to be careful about I really think this is wonderful. As children, we have like this exuberant kind of like belief that we can do anything, and then we kind of like adults teach them, no, not the case, you have to learn that. Well, most of the time this is true, but when this kind of like happens, it says, well, you have one option and you're going to like it. How is that, right? You're going to get this job, is going to pay you $1 million. So okay, fine. In this deck, Justice card is having the scale that is not in perfect balance. And I like it better because when it says, and this is a theory that we all kind of like work on, oh, you know, justice will be served, and it might be served, but not necessarily in this lifetime, right? Because it's just a blink on the other side this entire lifetime. So paying forward could mean 10 lives from now. So this, I think, to me is telling me that you know, it's not really perfectly balanced. Yeah, you know, kind of, yeah, this is not exactly how things are really working, but sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't get it. But it's also telling me that you Sagittarius are going to get something, and Lover's card, you're moving into hope of relationship with someone. You are taking this leap and you're feeling that you have no options. The Star card is communication. The Star card is healing. Maybe something that you felt it was dead is like all of a sudden coming back in a like freaking big way. Maybe what was dead was like you said to yourself, oh, you know, I'm never going to love again, and I'm old, I'm fat, right? We say, well, I'm not rich enough, I don't have nice clothes, I don't have like we have this like ridiculous negative self-talk, right? But if you really think about it, it's really not important if at the end of your life, if you're dying, or if you have somebody who ever died to you, you kind of like made yourself promise to look into things that are important. And this is sort of like one of those switches that you're going to look at things in extremely positive way. And like Sagittarians are a positive sign, extremely positive sign, but you didn't really have that much positivity over the last, let's say, 2 or 3 years. And this is happening. It is happening for you guys. It is turning around big times. Sitting at Sprint with a broken phone. Poor Sally. Okay, there you have Leos, lots of Leos. I appreciate you, Leos. Like, you guys really went out of your way to kind of like give me a nod, right? So let me just see. I just want to get, not for a particular card, just like, I mean, a card or two for clarification to add to it. There was a third party, guys. There was some kind of jealousy in the situation. You might be also dealing with something from the past, that somebody was getting a little bit, these pleasure seekers to me, it can be a positive card, but not when it's aligned with a negative card. Have you been dealing with a deep depression, maybe, Sagittarians? Because this can actually also talk about loving and appreciating and cherishing yourself. Also, another thing that I forgot to mention to you, look at this. This is air, this is air, this is air, and this is air. Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, and generic air. This is fire, and this is water. So given that you have every single air sign here, and air signs are supposed to be uplifting, that's where this optimism is coming through. And I really think this is giving us a background. This is giving us some kind of betrayal or letdown, and it could be like, I mean, based on somebody's, you know, pleasure seekers. To me, it's always the guy who goes out with another guys, and it's like, let's tell you about my ex-husband. Like, I was the person who at the time, well, actually at the time for sure, I was not jealous. So he said he's going out with his guys. Sure, have a good time, right? And then you find out that he's staying up to 4 o'clock in the morning, and lipstick and that kind of stuff. And then you're asking him which one of your friends wears a lipstick, right? Kind of a thing. So of course, like, I mean, then you basically just really end this, because this makes no sense if you kind of like cannot respect someone. But it does leave this kind of like residue, right? That is really hard to kind of like shake off later. So there is like somebody here who kind of like has that bitterness in the situation. It's almost like being drunk with stuff. And like, his explanation was, oh, well, I got drunk, and I wanted to kind of like impress my friends. Well, good, you impress your friends, you unimpress me. In the meantime, all these friends got happily married, and they were faithful to their wives, and you have lost your wife. So this is kind of like something that somebody didn't take things in consideration over here. There's like also something that has been brewing for a while, and I really think that is going to also resurface in the first part of September, in particular between the 8th and 14th, that is going to come up. It's kind of like consequences of the past and reckless behavior. And this despair and this like a Knight of Cups, it's kind of like, again, coming to that, right? In despair, I'm wondering, like, I mean, I think that was called jealousy. Does it say here? No, they're translating despair. I think this card is called jealousy in the original deck, which kind of like, if you look at it, there's like a woman here, a picture, somebody's feeling helpless, dejected, there's some kind of shame, there's some kind of fear. There is like somebody is fearing of being betrayed or not being loved, or, and this is a bad one. And maybe that's why you have air signs. Air signs tend to not to be vulnerable, so hence it's hard to love us, because we are very exciting in the beginning, but it's very hard to bond with us, because we are always a balloon up in the air, right? At least with fire, you engage, you burn yourself, but you're still engaging with fire, and air goes, off I go, I'm going very, very high up, right? So there's like some kind of mistrust, or this whole situation has been based on mistrust. So some healing is going to be taking place, but also it's not that there are going to be many options. They're going to be just very kind of like narrow slice. The third one, there's the sign that is coming, will be Pisces. Pisces, Pisces. Wow, Steve. Scary, 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 scary. Scary. I have lots of Leos. What happened to my aqua people and my air people? Like what? Like, where are you people? Another sip of coffee while it's still hot. Okay. Yum. I think I need a little bit more sweetener. So Pisces, you have Queen of Swords. Why are you becoming Queen of Swords? Are you having somebody coming in your life who needs to react quickly, who is a good mentor? Because Queen of Swords, many people do not like, and I think this is really, really unfair. Look at her in this deck. Is that somebody you would say, stay away from me? She is actually what I really think about Queen of Swords, and I don't necessarily identify as a Queen of Swords, even though I'm a air sign. I do identify with Queen of Pentacles way more, but I do appreciate Queen of Swords. You know, I think we live in a society where when you say something honest, but you do not apply diplomacy or kindness with it, then it becomes cruel. And this is basically how different people will take her words differently. So it could be anything from, well, okay, at least somebody told me that, yes, I have this toilet paper stuck to my, shoe and I'm being ridiculous, right? And thank you very much for that. Or other person would feel like horribly embarrassed and, and blame it on a person. So it just really, really depends on how basically that information is landing that is going to be seen. Hello, Scorpio. And then we have the Moon reversed, which is your card, and which is really good when it's reversed. So the Moon, and like it is connecting with Pisces in tarot, but it's connecting with Cancer in astrology. So this is kind of like one of those intricacies. And tarot is more accurate than astrology, by the way. So here is talking about the conscious and subconscious thoughts. It is really telling you that you have to decide the direction where you are taking and where you're going to go, because it looks like you have been in some kind of like fog, whether this is your brain fog or situation and circumstances bonded you to a situation where you clearly couldn't do much and couldn't exit from it, right? So when the Moon card shows up, it can be psychic hunches. It could be that, oh, you get this like my dream, like I'm in this grid dream, right? Or that you all of a sudden get a solution and you go like, oh my gosh, that was so simple. How could I not think about it, right? Moon is reversing. When Moon reverses, it says, okay, it's not more of a fog. Now somebody cut through it, or somebody pulled you out. So trust your friends. Trust somebody who initially you might feel, I mean, this could be divorced woman, it could be divorced man, it could be somebody jaded. She tends to be introverted and quiet, but she tends to really, really have a big love for animals. And why? Because she feels that the people betrayed her. And she is not unfair, but she can have the harsh edge to her, meaning you're not going to get the big convoluted story, right? Why do I have the Three of Swords reversed here? Have some of you been dealing with a downfall of a relationship? Well, Three of Swords is not necessarily great news. So you have the Swords, which means you're doing lots of thinking. There's like something on your mind. You might feel, I don't know, rejected. You might feel, that somebody really wronged you. But when this reverses, and especially in this combination, I don't know, maybe some of you are in counseling, guys. Because this is good. You see how the negative cards can actually become really positive in reading. This is really talking about forgiveness and recovery and clarity and introspection. It's kind of like, you get it. You get it. And, like you hear about the circumstances when, somebody's murdered and the parents of the murdered, person actually forgive others and even pray for the other person. And it's for the most of us is like, ooh, I don't know if I would do it, kind of a thing, right? But it is what it is. Kind of like we really need to kind of like figure this one out. So let me just get a clarification. This one really wants to talk, and you're having a scholar. I think you're going to be very much into leave me alone kind of like mood this particular week. You will be maybe just coming out of your, let's say, cave, let's call it a cave, when you need to. You'll be doing lots of reading, you'll be doing lots of Googling, you'll be doing lots of studying about something that really you want to find out more about it, right? So this could be also professor or something, maybe something that you flunked at university. You're going to like now kind of like go and ask honest opinion kind of a thing. When I had students in a school, and of course everybody wants to be the best, right? So my first profession was a professor of math, from all things, right? Very pragmatic, very, very, very has to be this way. The only exact thing that exists on this planet. And I have learned, especially being math teacher, right? You basically are not going to please anybody, so you really have to tell them, like, probably better way to understand the concepts. The same thing was in my tarot schools, right? So it's very hard to say, because different people process intuition in different ways, but it's really hard to tell people, well, you're not that great, right? Even though I have to say, my 2 rounds or 3 rounds that I had were really great, but when I was asked, I told these people honestly, and I told them, like, I'm telling you this because I do know that your potential is greater. So I really think that something like this might be happening to you, that you're going to realize, okay, not only am I not living my potential, but I'm not even freaking close, right? So if you really think about this card, we see like the center of the figure, it's an older man. He's kind of like sitting in his armchair, and like this book is pretty huge. You're wondering how come this is not crashing here. So this table and a large bookcase, bookcake. Oh, it's cute. Bookcase. It almost looks like he's sitting in a library. Well, this is how my study room looks like, actually, right? But this is also a suggestion that he kind of like has wisdom and experience, right? So this, I really think that leads back to the Queen of Swords, that there's going to be some kind of like advisor and maybe a person of culture or knowledge, but this also can be a person of a status, of some way this person is going to be very helpful. So it could be a crisis in a relationship that you had, and then the wise person is going to counsel to kind of like come and restore harmony, or you're going to find a solution through your own wisdom or knowledge, or you're going to hire somebody who actually has the knowledge to do that, and this person is going to be the right one. Health-wise, maybe you have worried about heart problems, because this card sometimes indicates that, and you're going to get accurate diagnosis, and worry will end. You will know in which way to go. So Pisces, this is interesting advice, because you're usually using intuition, but now it's telling you, no, use logic and reason in order to solve problem at hand, right? Okie dokie. So look at this. We have a few more people here. Heidi, Kimberly, Scorpio Sun, Taurus rising. Oh, I have a client who is the same combination. Partner is Pisces. We have been hurting for 6 months. I'm sorry to hear that, but it's also very, very. Oh, your dragon? Oh, that's Barbie's dragon. I love dragons. I love little dragons and little snakes. Snakes are called mini dragons, I think, Chinese. Any person from Asia who kind of understands this more. Okay, so where is my list? And guess who is the 4th one? Any guesses? Any guesses? Who is the 4th sign and the 5th sign? So the 4th one is Aquarius, and the fifth one will be Scorpio. Scorpio said, "You are not get relegating me to the kind of like sidelines. You are going to read for us quicker." So let's see. Let's go Aquarians. Aquarius. Anybody watch that movie Hair? Like it's Milos Forman's movie. I just love that movie. Love, love, love. So Aquarius. 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 Your grandmother was a dragon. And we had, my mom was a is a dragon, ready to say. Those moments. We'll never forget in a positive way. Oh my God, that fire, the fire. And she is also a Scorpio. So there you go. All right, Aquarians. Aquarians, Aquarians. Oh, I love that movie. When the sun is in the seventh house and Jupiter, or something like that. I'm horrible with, I usually when I hear the song, I only hear the melody. I don't really care much about the words until later. So it's Ten of Swords is the Lover's reversed, yak. But then it's a King of Swords. Then it is the World, the Fool reversed, and the Moon. Holy moly. It's going to feel like a seesaw. Up and down, up and down, up and down. And it's going to be really, really weird. Okay. So we have the air, presence of air, we have presence of aura. Look at how much air we have, and sort of like half here. So Aquarians, we are maybe too much in our head for our own good. You know what they say, you need to be kind of like balance it out, and even though if you're an air sign, you have to do the other stuff that kind of like balance you out. But it sounds to me that there was like some kind of like, let's say, choice that had to be made. These two cards reversed are still talking about blockages, and that's what I've seen in the reading I did last night for us Aquarians. There is a feeling that, oh my God, is this ever effing getting better? When is this going to get better, kind of a thing, right? And it's a very intense feeling. It's almost like, look at this card, like he is giving the clue. It's almost like Agatha Christie, kind of like a novel in this particular picture here, that he is giving the sign of benediction. He said the Pope did it, the Pope did it, the people I trusted did it to me, watch them. It's kind of like betrayal, right? But this is reversed. So now he actually did accomplish what he wanted to accomplish. He did relate this message. These swords are being pulled out and the problem has been identified, right? So this is about hope and recovery and acceptance and renewal, and it's very similar when it's reversed to the Star card, right? And this is the one that is missing, but it's kind of like shown through this here this time, because the King of Swords is also showing up, which kind of is us guys, because King of Swords, look at him, it's the person who's thinking in his head, where do I go forward, how do I go forward? There is like something that is an apex of something happening. The World card, this is us, the human among the fixed signs. The eagle is representing Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo. So this is this dance. Oh my God, I have cut off some cords. I have resolved something. I have learned something. I have learned even a minimal thing, but it was really important for me, right? The World card, and that's why I kind of like it's to me semi-karma card. And why? Because it is happening right here, right now. So it is absolutely ideal when it comes up in a weekly reading, right? So astrological correspondence to this card is Saturn. And Saturn is basically devil, right? In astrology is like angry all the freaking time, right? But this is the final destination of a journey, right? So deeper understanding that, you know, what our role was and who we are. And it's almost like you might be surrounded with people who just simply don't understand you, who might even tell you that you're stupid. But, you know, you maybe have just higher intelligence they cannot comprehend, because after all, stupid people cannot recognize who is smart, and smart people can recognize who is stupid. It's called dancing cunning, I think, syndrome, right? So this is about some kind of completion, and after this card, the Fool appears. So this 0 and this infinity that we see here is saying, okay, I'm going to cycle again. So it's not entirely turning up. It might, we might do something freaking foolish. We might do something right. We might do something foolish. That's what I said when I said you seesaw. It's going to be good day, bad day, good day, bad day, right? If you can sleep through this particular week, because just do not make any decisions. Do not jump to conclusions. Do not file lawsuits. Do not sign contracts. The Moon card is talking about, yeah, you know, you might think you're back on horse, but the Moon is saying, well, you know, which one is it? Do you trust your brain that you see this Moon, or is it like more this coyote that says, no, it's the intuition? You have to kind of like really think about your shadow self and all of that. Even the science right now is starting to acknowledge, because, for example, if I talk to people who are doctors or something, and you tell them about tarot, they go, ugh. But then if you tell them in a scientific way that, yeah, I do know the science behind it, and actually the science, I think they were studying people who are having quote-unquote intuition and people who have hunches. So they're two actually different things, and they prove that intuition actually is, even with the surgeons, or something that I think they said 85% of the time was right. 85% of the time. How many times are scientists right in a science process? 45%. 85% with intuition and hunches that can go freaking anyway. It doesn't mean much. So basically 50%, which is still higher than just the scientific knowledge. So it goes to show that we need to allow that higher spirit and this energy kind of coming through. So Aquarians, let me grab a card over here. Let me grab the card. Oh, sorry, Steve. You see, this is Mercury retrograde. That kind of like makes you, and that was like really prominent in, that could have been that King of Pentacles that we had in Leo reading, your mom. That you kind of like are realizing she's not going to come back and you miss her. But you see, that's exactly shift in thinking. Instead of missing her, you can say, this was so beautiful, that this part of her personality that she was, or she had certain flower, and then you decide to plant it, and all of a sudden you're shifting that energy that kind of goes in a negative direction into positive direction. Because honestly, it looks like death is a wonderful thing, that people can't wait to leave the body and go on the other side where it's like freaking party. And we are like, would you feel sad that somebody is having a great time, right? So if you have that certainty, it will be a completely different thing. Lovely, Steve. Thief. Well, I know what is this happening in my place. I totally know. Like, the first thing that crossed my mind is like that freaking woman and her Great Dane and that attack tiger and how she behaved, right? And I really feel like, I mean, that kind of like actions have been underhanded, right? But this card really represents a loss of somebody who is coming or taking something that is not theirs. It could be damage to your property. It could be damage to your well-being. This also can be about somebody who is cheating or stealing or meddling, right? So clearly not a good side. Somebody sneaking in your house through an open window, right? So it looks like it's an empty house, and somebody can just basically do whatever they want, right? And somebody's taking advantage of somebody's vulnerability over here, right? So this is talking about the sudden things. So that will be kind of close to tarot card in tarot, but you know, it can happen with financial things. It can happen with, you know, work. As I said, it's going to feel like, oh my God, where do I make this 2 steps forward instead of going 1 forward, 1 back, 1 forward, 1 back, 1 forward, back. It's going to feel really, really weird, right? So, you know, this also means that you can be subject to some kind of scams or frauds. And maybe you have a partner that is living a parallel life, or betraying your trust in some way or the other, right? Or that you have the work colleagues that are making some kind of like secretive agreements, right? Not anything that you cannot remedy, sort of like by thinking through, or that you cannot think through, but it's kind of like that pack mentality, and they really believe in what they believe. If you ever read Plato and Allegory of the Cave, this cave people, they just, the entire world was like the shadows on the wall. And you know this like the song Shadows on the Wall, right? And they didn't realize that this is just deception, and that's kind of like what we see with the moon card over here, right? So it's some kind of bad faith that is going to kind of like be really visible, and it's going to feel like losing. It's going to feel that things are going against us, but toward this end of the week, things are going to start getting better. It almost looks like somebody's going to step in and work, possibly even behind the scenes, of something that has been kind of like where we have been damaged, but we are still not going to be certain if we are getting the help or, you know, assistance that we need. So Agua, buckle up, what can I tell you? Okay, so let's see, a sip of a coffee. Who is next? I said Scorpio, right? So Scorpios, how many Scorpios do I have here? Oh, I think I don't have even that big need for coffee. It's 12 o'clock, and this is my first coffee for today. Apparently it's really good for cleansing liver, so it's decaf. So Scorpio, so Scorpio moon, Scorpio rising, Scorpio sun. It's really something that can help over here. Scorpio. Yeah, Scorpios are that way, but it's also Scorpios don't sometimes understand. Kimberly said Scorpios love long and hard, and they're genuine. But Scorpios also drags you down to Mariana's Trench, to the depths that other people cannot breathe in and then suffocate. So Scorpios need to learn that too, right? So each of our signs has kind of like some crap connected to it that we need to learn. Hi, Charita. So, okay, let's see. Scorpios. Three of Cups. Is there some kind of like friendship bond that it's kind of like falling apart? You have 3 like, no, this is a 4. You have, why did I think 3 3s? I didn't even see the 4 swords, and I know this is 4 of swords. I really love the Empress card is there. It's almost like you will be honoring yourself. Are you guys tired of people around you? Is there some kind of company of people that you have that is not really thinking about your best interest? You know, some people camouflage things that they want, and they try to manipulate us. Well, most of the life is manipulation, and sometimes we don't mind being manipulated, sometimes we really do. But this card is the ultimate card of friendships, and this could be like, to other people that are involved, doesn't have to necessarily be, right? It's in the other decks, they're dancing, but here I see they have cantaloupe, avocado, strawberries, cherries, grapes, and peaches, all my favorite fruits, right? Except they don't have raspberries on the list. And this really tells me that there is like, these are all antioxidants that we are seeing over here. It's really telling me that maybe you feel suffocated when this is reversed, that you're kind of like feeling that you're constrained in what and how much you can do, and hence what do you do? And this also can be affected with some kind of like Taurus or Libra over here, because it's clearly Venus over here that we see here. The Empress, again, she has this moon under her feet. She has sort of like this really understanding who she is, right? It's kind of like manifestation of the creation. So in tarot, like this is the beginning step where actually something is happening. So you know, God made earth, but in tarot God made a woman, and she's kind of coming out first. And it's kind of really interesting that you see in all divinations women coming first. But let me not go and digress in all these other interesting things that I've seen in tarot. This is somebody who is, when she shows up as metaphorical figure, she's the mother. She is like the little sound that you hear that is telling you what you need to do, that is telling you, well, you need to be a better person, you need to wash your hands, you know, need to put the list down, kind of a thing, right? She is also inviting us to reconnect with what is important, with sort of like a natural world, with this divine feminine principle, right? And nourish everything that we have created. It sounds to me, Scorpios, that and this is also could be that you'll be just treating yourself. Some of you might be going to the spa or to some kind of a resort. Four of Swords is, to me, I really like this card because, yay, you know, I'm going to rest. And some people just freak out when they see this card. This is the card of gratitude. This is a card of contemplation and meditation. So, especially if you're a woman, you'll be thinking, well, who am I? And how do I honor myself? If you're a man, maybe life was really hard and you never allow yourself to express those emotions, and you just kind of bottle them up. And I believe this, for some of you, may have resulted in sickness, and you will be getting these messaging through whatever, dreams or strangers. You'll be standing in a grocery line and somebody is going to comment, and you're going to take it and run it, that kind of like torch that has been passed on to you. So it's really important to kind of like look into that. It's very interesting because you actually, you have the earth, you have swords, but you don't have a fire here. So it's not going to be a bad week. It's not going to be fiery. It's not going to be enthusiastic either. It's going to be a week where you are going to honor and glorify yourself, and very kind of like feminine aspect of it. So I guess, guys, it is a good time. Generally, I tell you during Mercury retrograde, especially during not Venus retrograde, not to go in a beauty salons, but this clearly tells me, yeah, pedicure, manicure, massage, stuff like that will work, because there is like something you're mulling it over about, some issues that maybe you have around, about suffocation of issues or people. Maybe it was too much and now you just need to kind of like decompress, right? But things are actually moving forward, and things are moving forward in a good direction. So I'm going to the beach next week for vacation. Oh, there you go. There you go. You're not going to feel stuck. You're not going to feel lonely. You're going to feel, yes, I can disconnect this freaking world and I can have fun, right? Look at this. You're getting this lightness. This is journey. See, Christina? Tarot never lies. You guys see it yourself. And frivolity, I don't know why this is called frivolity. This should be called lightness of the being, this butterfly kind of a thing. And you have priest over here. Priest could be a lawyer or something like that. But I really think in this particular combination, to me, this is more talking about you applying some kind of like firm principles, being a fixed sign. To us, fixed signs, strategy and structure is extremely important, right? Did I see another card flicked? No, I didn't. I'm having like, vivid imagination here. So clearly journaling doesn't have to be necessarily like Christina's traveling somewhere. It could be just simply a new start, right? Where, you know, the priest could be this new spiritual start. And this also connecting to this meditation can actually talk about sifting through different opinions. That could be even legal opinions or legal decisions, or it can be simply kind of like some kind of like rules that you want, right? So there could be some kind of like sins, somebody's sins when I see priests, or it could be your sins, it could be somebody else's judgment that you're feeling that is harsh on you, or that you feel that you rendered this judgment. So guys, you really need to make an honest assessment of recent actions and thoughts. So choose the right and moral, and just option. And that is sort of like where this whole journey is going to take you, right? Unless this is literal, it could be that you are taking yourself somewhere, sort of like it could be even a new relationship based on a travel as well. And something that maybe takes off but then kind of like falls down, because that's what Mercury retrograde does to you, right? So could be meeting a driver, could be meeting a pilot or a seaman, or transfer relocation for work. It could be a business trip, kind of like a range of like these kind of things. So why do they call this frivolity? Because in Whereas below they call this lightness, and to me it always reminds me on Milan Kundera's book, The Lightness of Being. It's just like a beautiful book. If you didn't read it, I highly advise, right? And who doesn't like butterfly when you see them? I could see tiger watching butterfly in awe. Oh my gosh, butterfly kind of a stuff, right? And he didn't even try to eat it, which was really great, right? So this is a positive card. It really talks about, the carefree existence, and it talks about giving yourself a break, right? It kind of like, it could be a moment of uncertainty, maybe with lovers and relatives, and this is the only thing, don't do something rash that you might regret, kind of like thing, right? Because this card, and I think that's why it's called frivolity here, can sometimes talk about superficiality, right? Or undervaluing people or situation, or sometimes disregarding the details of some kind of like sort, right? So keep in mind that it's kind of like a really important, maybe you're going to meet somebody who is carefree, and this is going to pull you into this, okay, I need to gather some energy and then I can move forward with this. So hopefully guys, this kind of like did help. And your dragonflies, oh, they're so beautiful. Like I was like following one and managed to record them like really far away. They just on camera and they left the little trails. It was like so beautiful. New job. Yes, yes, yes. Perfect. I like that. You guys are such a positive crowd. How come Barbie didn't give me shit? Barbie, you didn't say, cat, where is my, 3-door reading? So let's do that, guys. Let me grab a different deck for this. And I'm going to take Osho Zen. So you guys who are here online, you're getting this just for you. This is just for the people who are here, whether commenting or just present. So ask a question, ask yourself a question, and make it be more or less like in a yes or no kind of like answer, and I'm going to give you a quick response. So, and these ones I'm always looking, actually because it's yes or no I can look up and down, so that's okay. So I'm going to pull it off camera. Now let me see if you saw this that came out. So I have to, I'm delayed a few minutes to see if you saw it. If you didn't, I'm going to pull them off the camera so you don't see it. Okay, you didn't see it. Good. I'm putting it here. It's the second one that came through, and the third one. So guys, just thought you may have changed your mind. I was about to. No, Barb, you are my moderators. That's why you guys moderators, you have the right to speak for the crowd. I'm putting you as basically, yeah, you're helping me, but you kind of like really need to say, oh, you forgot this, because I'm forgetful. I'm like this forgetful professor. So let me have a sip, and then I'll tell you. So this is the door number 1. This is the door number 2, and this is the door number 3. So pick one. So door number 1. Sorry, sweetie. Ooh, abundance. I love how the King of Pentacles is represented in this deck, don't you? He has the sun, he has the moon, he's this hippie dude, he has like this belly, and this reminds me on the Buddha belly. You rub this Buddha belly and kind of brings luck, right? And this is like abundance, and there's the book, and he's like in the clouds, and there are pyramids. Well, clearly the answer is yes, and this may have been also something connected with money, or a new job or something like that, and it's going to be actually way beyond expectations. If it was a love question, then this person might not be overly interesting, but it's going to be real and authentic and genuine, and the answer is also yes. So let's see the door number 2, and you got sharing. Interestingly, when I saw it this way, I saw it as shaming. So who is ashamed? And look at her, she has this antioxidants. She has, this will be the Queen of Wands. She doesn't have the black cat in this deck, but she has these, they're not sunflowers, they're probably marigolds, right? And she has grapes, and she has pomegranate over here, and a candle. Interestingly, candle, I guess that's what represents fire. She was reversed. So it could be that somebody will overreact in this situation. So this candle now, it wouldn't come to play. It will be darkness. Maybe something is still not ready to resurface as an answer. So just do not push it. Do not insist on it this week. It's just not the right time. And shaming was possibly right, that going forward would actually end up in some kind of embarrassment, and it's not need. Actually, this kind of promises are good things, but it needs and it requires patience over here. Okay, so okay, nice to hear this, Steve. Okay, so the next one is door number 3, fighting, and it was reversed. Well, you know, I can see myself in this card so many times, and this fighting is not necessarily bad things, right? Because we are conditioned, this is bad, this is good, bad, good. You know, fighting is like the response that you have when you need to stand up for yourself. It's kind of like having a spine. But look at him. Like, all of these little bolts are all rusted, and it looks like maybe he has gained some weight and he cannot, like, or like the things are getting too packed inside that he's bursting at all, it seems. And you can see this product of his mind. Look at this guy choking like somebody by its neck. So this would be the Knight of Swords, right? So this is really talking about, hey, you know what, dude, relax. You need to kind of like take the edge off. But in this case, it was reversed. So this has answered both yes and no. For some of you will be yes, for some of you will be no. It almost looks like some of you are a dog with the bone, and if you're a dog with the bone, the answer is going to be no. Why? Because you will agitate the situation. If you're not dog with the bone and you're saying, holy smoke, I just have to let this steam out and take a long bath, or just go and walk the dog, be out in the air, the answer will be yes, because you will have this ability to reposition yourself and see a different strategy to go toward that. So there you go. I'm going to do it one more time when Barbie calls for it. So let's continue. Who I will announce the next sign, also the sign that is coming after, so you can prepare yourself. So we did Scorpio, and we are having Virgo and Taurus coming up. So let's see, Earth is coming up. Virgo, 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 Virgo. Steve, please tell me how this really works out. I would really like to know. Virgo, 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 Virgo. I like your new icons, Barbie. This almost looks like a Wheel of Fortune. You know, it's really cute when you have astigmatism like me, and then sometimes you see completely different things. I'm using intuition, and kind of like, even though it's not necessarily like I saw a park bench and I thought it was a deer. Okay, it was not even close, but hey, you know, look at that, what the imagination can create for you. Okay, so I see Virgo. Whoa, you have 9 of Cups. Cute. Don't retract messages like that. That's so super cute. Well, you have a King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles. Virgo is focused. Virgo is focused. Virgo is focused. 725. You 725. Trust me, you're going to get the answer, but it's not going to be the final answer. The final answer is going to be August 11th, Steve. So Virgo, you are kind of like putting the roots somewhere. Virgos, you're going to be happy. You're having this 9 of Cups, right? And many readers love this card, and I still really didn't warm up entirely, even though I don't think it's a negative card by any chance. So let me explain why I say that. Look at this dude, like nothing really unhappy about him. He's jolly and he's looking, but to me it can talk about alcohol. It can talk kind of like just helping yourself with too many kind of like glasses of it, but clearly like this person is happy and it's satisfied. There is like some kind of harmony, and there's also feeling of celebration and accomplishment. It's sort of like it's one of those standstill situation, you know, when we are on a horse and it feels like I'm just going to keep it like this and until the rest of my life, and then karma wheel turns around. But you're going to be feeling this way. You want this to stay there. You don't really want to move, not even a tiny little bit. Even though you are going to be called, I don't know, for some kind of like sacrifice or seeing somebody else's position. Hangman is like really interesting, kind of like when we see it here, right? It's kind of like indication that it's time to end old ways and release restrictions that maybe you put on yourself, but they were holding you back in life. And it's kind of like not so much like your card Hermit, but it's very similar to me, right? And it's kind of time for inaction and reflection because you want to manifest new opportunities, and looks like it's very important for you, some kind of like establishment, or you want to buy something, you really want to feel there's something about home. Maybe some of you are trying to start a company. Mercury retrograde is not the best time to do it unless you started before and now you're moving forward with this, right? But that's why this can mean sacrifice and release, a new perspective, but it can also mean surrender. What's up, dude? What's up, dude? Why don't you sleepy? Why don't you sleepy? Huh? Let me get a card for you, guys. Virgo, I'm getting a tiger here staring at me. Usually cats do that. It's like so uncomfortable when they do that. Messenger. So I don't know why it came to me that more or less you will be some kind of like messenger, that you will be doing something, maybe kind of like putting out your feelers that something, you know, need to be done. And it could be text, of course, like anything modern thing that clearly who is getting any kind of like letter other than the bill, right? So again, this is positive or negative, like it's neutral in that, but it's clearly saying that it's a time for action. If you guys are wondering about your work, it's really important that you're sending quotes and proposals. Never mind Mercury retrograde. This is a strong message, and you'll be waiting and holding, and you will wondering why this is not coming back, but they are being reviewed, which is really important, right? So it's going to be new offers, it's going to be new meetings to attend, it's going to be new people coming to your life. If you're dating, it's going to get to the point it's going to feel comfortable, but it might have kind of like go somewhere else, and you'll feel, okay, I really don't know how to get there. Just enjoy the standstill. The standstill is good, right? And kind of like you need to really pay attention to or consider what was this message that either you relayed or then you got it back after this. It's going to be transaction. I mean, he is giving this to a servant. He is not giving this directly to you. And I really think that it could be another person here in the process, which could be that some of you are planning the wedding. It could be that you feel that something that has been organized now is flopping. Somebody went out of business, or somebody is giving you feedback. Well, don't go with this company. They screwed me over. Kind of a stuff is going to be really beneficial, but it's going to be kind of like this holding spot for you Virgos, but all good that I see. So Taurus next. So what I see is having an auction ending at that date. So yeah, then it's going to be a final reveal, and especially if that was something that has started a couple of years ago. I mean, the auction probably didn't last that long, but you know, there is like this eclipses and stuff that usually kind of like open up, and the stuff just rushes through it, right? So that's what basically works. And again, I'm having the red on my video over here for some reason. So okay, let's go. Taurus, you're having a Two of Swords that jump right out and saying you are so freaked out. You're a little bit confused about which direction to go, and you have like Five of Wands over here. It's Five of Wands. I don't dislike as a card, right? Five of Wands tells me about, okay, establishing the boundaries, but here there are no boundaries for some reason. It kind of like almost like makes it feel for me that there is like some kind of like review, and maybe you're feeling stuck in some kind of like situation, right? High Priestess is really interesting when she shows up. She has like this weird, presence, where in current life we kind of like would find it's a weirdo in the room who doesn't speak, who just like staring at you, but still has this kind of like opinion of herself to be very important. So we would react really negatively in the presence of High Priestess, right? However, she represents wisdom and enlightenment, and she really doesn't care what you think about her, because she really kind of like understands all of these intuition and psychic worlds, right? Because she's the guardian of the unconscious. She is telling us you need to look inward, right? And it's like something that you really, really want to push forward. You kind of like really that set of, well, I'm going in this direction, I really want this. And you're not taking something in consideration. And it's going to be almost like you're going to start pushing through it, and maybe being Taurus, like a bull in a china shop, just like move it forward anyway. It's going to feel like that you will get this gentle push by the universe. And what is a gentle push? You may have a flat tire, because this flat tire will maybe prevent a big accident that otherwise would happen. You might not be able to find your keys, which kind of happened to my dad, and he couldn't find them because I stole them, and he's not supposed to drive the car. And then he decided to go and make keys, and then I stole the second ones, because it's cheaper to steal the car and go in the argument with him than 25 grand that is the fine here. And grand means thousands, just to let you know. Or over here, I don't know what Americans use this to, if you drive without your license and insurance. But you have this Five of Wands, which is talking about some kind of self-doubt or evasion, but it could be some kind of like negotiation. But it's kind of like really weird, because you also have this Two of Swords, which kind of like is some kind of like fear and also confusion and being overwhelmed. And Taurus generally doesn't like to get anybody's advice, right? Taurus is like such a grounded big sign. Just think about his earth sign, Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn. Taurus is being the biggest one, the strongest one, and hence it has to move slower in order to be kind of like moving around the obstacles. But when they get somewhere, they are stable. That's why you have this like big bull on in Chicago, right, representing stock market. It's like, hey, I'm here to stay, kind of a thing, right? It kind of looks like that you might be all over the place. You might want to stubbornly make something happen, and that thing will not be happening. And it will not be happening because, believe it or not, it is in your interest. Believe it or not, the High Priestess is saying here, there is like something, there is like some reasoning that is going to be applied. Or you might want to even try to get advice from somebody, and they will say, nope. Look at this, you're getting a doctor, and that kind of like it's not necessarily High Priestess, right? But a doctor, you have to put it in perspective when these cards have been created, that all these professionals, doctors, lawyers, Anybody was doing everything. Like, you know, this Renaissance man. So doctor was a lawyer and he was also a priest. So priest was the same thing, right? The other things. So the Torah is one of those multi-purpose cards that kind of like represents this person or concept, right? And here we are really talking about, you know, a healing of some kind of resolution or something that is from the past happening, right? It's indicating a crisis, but it's indicating that crisis will be overcome. And it can indicate the person, because we see the high priestess here, in which case you want an answer of something. But this is not going to be, let's say, a legal question. I really don't think doctor here does represent a lawyer, right? But it could be more or less like essential or spiritual question as well, right? It's definitely, I feel, a need to get out of a situation or abandon a road or get out of the period of nothing has been done. Because doctor also is healing symptoms, not the very problem. And this very problem that I see over here is like some kind of like inertia and some kind of like anger that has been kind of like suppressed, right? So I do think that situation will be resolved, whatever you're dealing with that you might have some kind of obstacles that are coming your way, that other people will not go along with your own concepts. And that for that you can apply the, you know, characteristics, or like you can apply the proverbial patience that you have more than anybody else, and just kind of like sit in the bushes. So you need to trust and you need to seek advice in deciding what remedy is needed to resolve the current position, right? My dad, being Taurus, for example, he wants to freaking sue everybody, and he's very litigious, and I absolutely hate that in him. So when he had the stroke first time 2 years ago, he wanted to sue his doctor for having a stroke. He seen nothing wrong that he would have the stroke. Anyway, he's a man in advanced age, etc., etc. But this is kind of a thing where finally I said, okay, we're going to get a lawyer, and no, I'm not going to spend time and time. He wanted me to look for a lawyer who's going to do it on contingency basis. I said, no, you're going to pay for your crap, and you're going to get this advice. We get this 30 minutes free advice, and you get this advice. This is it. You are on your own. And guess what? The guy said to him, look, who's to say that you're not wouldn't have the stroke anyway? So what if the doctor fired you? The doctor did find you somebody else, so he did his due diligence, and you're on your own. And guess what? He just said, okay, fine. Never again did he bring the subject up. So that is my dear Taurus. So who are the next two? So we did Taurus. Next one is Capricorn and Aries. That's following up. I'm just going to put the check marks on who I did. Leo, Cancer. So Capricorns. I love this. Isn't that the poisonous mushroom, Barbie? I don't even know what is it called in English. I know it's something like a fly mushroom called in my language. And you eat it and you kind of like die. Cute. Capricorn. You're the queen of icons, Barbie. Capricorn. And again, I have the red. Oh, Capricorn, look at that. You have the world. The world is yours, Capricorn. It's upright. It's kind of like conclusion. It is like you have done certain things right. It is like time to start a new, oh my gosh, the Empress, the new cycle, and you're immediately jumping into actions. For Capricorn, for some of you, might be people returning from your past, especially if you're women, actually. This certainly, a woman in a situation is going to feel very strong. Like the Empress has this creative force. It has like, okay, let's move it forward. Mercury retrograde, you can see somebody coming back, right? You can see things, and it could be somebody you have been married with and married to. or it could be something that kind of like hasn't been fully resolved from the past that is really coming to the fore. This is really interesting reading because look at here, we have 10 and 8 18 and 3 is 21, which is also the world. You almost like can pat yourself on the shoulder because you're getting like another hidden world card in here that is kind of like showing here. So you have water signs, you have air signs, and you have earth signs over here covered. So I guess not much fire here, which is I guess good. So it's going to be a week where you will really feel accomplished, where you will really feel, well, things might work out. You know, like when you kind of like you break up with someone, for example, and then you really don't want them back. You feel sad that it didn't work out, but at the same time you feel relief of all of these issues are no longer needing to be visited, right? And then you kind of like step aside from the situation, and then you start to think, well, maybe did I overreact or something? And then the person basically contacts you and say, okay, well, let's talk about it. And then you realize that, hey, you know, I actually really didn't see that as 2020. I can see it better. Let's try. Sometimes you really try and with a big hope. But this doesn't have to necessarily be about relationships. This can actually talk about something from the past. If you're talking and asking about a job or about some kind of like progress, then something from the past that have been stuck or you felt it has been a lost cause, it might be coming through. It might be coming back. Maybe you have been told by someone you're not it, whether this was a job, somebody rejects you, or a person rejected you. And now they said, oh my goodness, I was looking and chasing the rainbow, but you were there all the time. And my apologies, I can see this greatness. Will you accept that? Let's see that. Let's see that. Oh, Virgo, you can just, and I think this is why my life is slower, because that red line that you see it, you can just highlight it on a video. You can just backtrack a little bit and just go in a real time. Steve, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate also these comments, appreciate this commentary. So enjoy the tech stuff. All the best, right? The world is mine. Yes, that's exactly what it is. So let's see what else do we see here. I just want to get one card here. Did I not tell you? Reunion. Do I really need to elaborate on this card, or we all know what it means? Okay, maybe I need to elaborate on this card. Why? Because I am noticing that people don't necessarily think about the words the same way I do. We both know the meaning of the word, but somehow people interpret words differently. So this in gypsy spreads can mean different things. So clearly a fresh start, which we have seen in tarot over here, right, in the cards. It could be a solution for all parties, right? New beginning, but it also can be, hey, I'm inviting you, let's go somewhere, or business meeting as well, right? I really like how this really looks. And oh, you know, I'm so, you know, like she's rejecting him, but she's pulling him toward her, kind of a thing, right? So both of them are really elegant, and she's either shy or she is kind of like really touched with the situation, right? So something, an encounter that might take place is going to result in kind of clarification, and that meeting again can be, as I said, between lovers, because the woman has to really feel very feminine. So that's a strategy for a man to make her feel very feminine, and if she manages to blush, that means you are really on the right vibration, right? Or man has to be softer in the situation, kind of like that feminine aspect is very highlighted, right? It's kind of like also clearing the air that is really coming over here. Differences and conflicts are being resolved in the situation, and maybe something has been canceled that is now on, right? Because we see this combination here. It's almost always a positive card, especially when associated with love or hope. Like, I mean, and also when it's connected with money cards, and 10 of Pentacles is one of money cards. Kind of like, you know, you look good on the paper, but I thought, you know, I need to look for something else, and now, well, you know, you actually look really, really good to me, kind of a thing, right? A friend of mine had this bus driver that she befriended with. She had a bus station right in front of her house. And so he would wave, she would wave. Sometimes he would bring her coffee. And he wanted something more. And she said, "You're a bus driver. Are you kidding me?" Oh, I'm not as a put down, but kind of like, no, no, no. But then they became friends. And so that was going on for a while. And she was chasing other guys were chasing her. And then one day she says, and Mate, that's the name of the guy, was there all the time for me. All the freaking time. And I didn't see it. It was right before my eyes. Within 2 months, they were married. So what can I tell you, right? So this is really talking about some resolution that is needed and misunderstandings that are going to give way to kind of like some new understandings, and love and passion is returning. So reconnect with others, guys. Be open to it. This is a lovely, lovely reading, guys. What can I tell you? The world is yours. The world is your oyster, literally here. Let me see the commentary over here. Sounds like things I have given up on in my business, thinking they just don't work for me. Maybe now revisit. Yes, because Empress is also a mother. It's a baby, and the babies can be on your brain, kind of like processes, right? Writing and creative and ideas. You need to revisit things that maybe worked, and for some reason you structure it differently. And now it's going to be lots of creativity and intuition, and you're going to really find your path to this. So yeah, ideas will be successful, and something that didn't make money before. You know what they say, doing the same things in the same way all the time, it's the definition of insanity. Well, you're going to do a little twist now, and it's going to be just enough to make it work, right? Because this little kind of like probiotic that I'm doing, this SBRD, right, it really needs that little kind of trick. Yeah, you know, like it might ferment on its own, but if you put it in too much of the sun or in too much of the cold, it's not going to happen. It really has to be on a body temperature. So that's that little thing that was missing. Kind of like it is not necessarily hard to kind of get there. There you go, Barbie. You see, guys, thank Barbie. She's like watching over you. So you can have a next question, and we're going to have sort of yes or no with small interpretation. I'm going to pull 3 cards or away from the camera, or I might just cut the cards and read the one on the bottom. So guys, see, I can't show you these cards because you see them. So let's do it off camera. And then you really want this, and that doesn't work this way. It would be so nice if kind of like it can work this way. So this one, the other one is on the floor, and that was interesting because it twisted and turned on the opposite side, and I'm going to tell you if it's up or down. And also doesn't matter in tarot, cards that are down could be also very good cards. And the third one is here. So door number 1, we are the world. It's the 10 of Pentacles, but it's in this particular deck completely, the interpretation is really different. In this deck is really talking about connectivity. It's talking about procession. It's talking about how many generations and how many people had their hopes and wishes and desires and were holding hands and kissing in order for you to be a part of this world. So it's going to be appreciation of the elderly for some reason, but because it's reversed, I really feel that families or somebody's attitudes based on the family trainings and family attitudes might get in a way. This is not the right time for it. In this particular deck, the answer is not necessarily no, but somebody is having issues within their family, and hence they cannot focus and resolve it in a way you would want to have it resolved. The next one is door number 2. So if you pick this door, the answer is success. And I'm going to even elaborate on this. This is that triumphant thing. Look, he's like walking on the planet, this tiger, and I cannot even say the name because he will wake up and he's sleeping right now. So this is like this really nice feeling and really nice attitude. And the door number 3 is celebration reversed. Well, sorry to say, but the answer here is no. The answer here is no, because I don't really think there is enough meeting of the minds in order for this to happen. So we have maybe yes or no. Interestingly enough, this particular time done. I'm sorry if you guys got no, but at least you know you have to kind of try it differently. Who did I say next? Was Capricorn, was now that we did, and Aries. Aries. It's so confusing when I'm jumping through the signs like all over the place. Maybe Barbie, who is doing all these check marks, maybe you can just post right after the video. This is in that order, so people can just like try over like a few minutes to find us and see it. So let's see. Aries. Well, you have the 8 of Swords and you have the 7 of Cups. Oh my goodness, Aries. Why? You're feeling stuck in a situation. You might be dealing with some business contracts that are creating a whole bunch of headache. You are giving these people options. You are giving them ideas and they're saying no, 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 and no. And you're getting to this position and saying, oh my F, can you please get off my back? I gave you everything. I don't even know what the hell I can think about this anymore, right? Look at all these options. Well, do you want it this way? 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 And usually this really happens that, you need to take, the matter in your own hands. But for some reason you can't. For some reason there is like this essence of feeling stuck. So this could mean that you have obnoxious boss. This could mean that somebody is just making your life really miserable in this particular thing, and that you're feeling stuck. I do have to tell you that when this card shows up, it is talking about, just imagine that we are an ant, right? Because this whole universe, we are just a tiny little thing, right? And you see this ant kind of like walking toward the sun or a magnifying glass, and it's going to be burned if it gets there. So instead you block the ant and saying, you're going to be in this box, you're going nowhere. And the ant is like, I'm blocked, fear and stuff, and trying to go in all directions. The truth is, this is a protective box, and in this protective box, you kind of like are there for a reason, and there is like nothing you can do in particular thing with this person, but lots of things are happening in the background, karma wise. For similarly is for people who have love affairs and relationships. Looks like some of you did have a 3-party situation over here. And it looks like some of you have been told that somebody's going to leave the relationship, but they didn't. And they didn't because their circumstances are not allowing them to do that. It's not that, the dreaming and the connection is still there, but there's like this feeling of rejection over here that we see really, really clearly over here. And look at these dark clouds and everything, and anticipation of the worst things kind of like happening over here, right? Where it should be the realization that maybe it was something about the situation or relationship that hasn't been set properly, but you really feel kind of impotent to make any difference in this particular case, and you feel loss of for words in this particular situation. Let me see this. I really need to see this for Aries. I'm taking 2 cards, or can we take a 3? You have wife. Did I not say for some of you this could have been a third party? You have sorrow, and then you have money reversed. To me, this money reversed, let's start with this card, is always the secret. So somebody is either holding a bag. So again, it goes back to could be your boss, somebody who has this power over you. And oh my gosh, I always hated working. I always felt work was a prison. And I always felt very unnatural. So I was going there and designing these websites and posters and and it's before I kind of like finished all my studies. And these people telling me nonsense. I remember when I worked for Reuters, and I created the ad for Globe and Mail, which is the newspaper here in Toronto, a good one. And my boss said, "What is this?" Like, with that tone of voice. Well, then you answer the obvious question, because it looks like you want answers. Well, it's an ad. "Well, look at the other ads. It's really standing up." Yeah, it's standing out. But yeah, it's standing out. Well, what is your point, right? It's supposed to stand out. This person doesn't know anything about marketing, right? So this is like what you are doing. You're trying to explain something to somebody, whether it's love or it's like I'm in business, and they're just no, I'm claiming mine, like king rights, and off you go. Like you're here to please me, and it's kind of like making you feel really constrained and really miserable. I would say is sorrow is like you're really wondering, like, hey, where the hell do I go with this? Because in Vera Sibilla, this card is called dispacere, displeasure. So it doesn't have to be like, like this drama queen, like, oh my gosh, but it can indicate this turmoil in despair, right? So what is really important when this card shows up, it could be some kind of bad news, right? Because of this distress. And keep in mind that we magnetize stuff. So it might be turbulent week for you, I have to really say, right? Something that is going to really, really affect you, because you don't really have negative cards around when this card would really then become very negative. But this can be about the grief and loss of a loved one, or broken marriage, or broken relationship, or family argument, right? But it can be loss of a job because you finally had enough. I have a neighbor here who finally got on my nerves. I mean, she's standing me up all the time, and I twist and turn to kind of like accommodate her around my schedule. And when the time comes, oh, I just cannot make it. Oh, this and that. And I am really embarrassed to tell you, because I'm usually telling you not to do, that this happened to me so many times. I actually stopped counting after 11. So finally, I said, "F you. That's it. I had enough. Do not even bother with me. Good luck with your friendships," kind of a thing, right? So, oh my God, right? And funny enough, like then I'm seeing since how she's trying to control the situation instead, but it's just simply a block. So it could be just simply like that you're going to just lash out, and it's going to be just like, I will not be surprised for one more second, right? So it could be lashing out at colleagues or bosses or something, but also you might feel that you're worried for and concerned about your loved ones in terms of their health. It could be some kind of like heart issues, and it is very, very important in the situation that I give you this message that you really need to be positive in spite of this. It's going to be kind of like you're going to go under the blankets, and not in a good way, this week, and do not make it bigger than it is. That's all I really, really want to tell you guys. Do not despair. I mean, you can despair, but how beneficial is that? You can as well start looking for this new job, start looking for new friends, start paying attention to this beautiful weather, go for a walk, and that kind of stuff. Okay, so let me see who is next. We have Gemini, and we have Libra, right? Did I miss any sign? Okay, sip of a coffee. And look at this, what I got from somebody, this cup. In a perfect world, every home would have a dog, and every dog would have a home. But should we have a dog and a cat? And every dog and a cat would have a home. Why only dogs? I love all animals. Who did I say I'm doing? Geminis? Gemini. Any Gemini here? Geminis don't care about me. Libras don't care about me. Geminis, you are feeling stuck, or you're in jail, and that's why you're not here. One of those two things. Monkeys. Yes, they're little monkeys. Geminis. But you are being Gemini. What can I tell you guys? This is kind of like about you realizing that you hit the wall. and we hit the wall when we want what we want, and it's really not good for us, right? So this is the card of anxiety. This card of, I don't know where I'm heading. Nobody's here for me. Nobody's here to support me. Nobody's collaborating with me, right? So look at the hand. My hands are tied, or somebody's not helping you because they can't. But you're saying to yourself, okie dokie, let me just take a step back and let me just see that again. Maybe I push things too much. Maybe I put too much pressure on me, on the others. Let me look at the details. And all of a sudden, and that's because you have like these two faces that always talk to each other, there is this like fight or flight. There is like Knight of Cups, and it looks like you are just distracting yourself from the situation. Maybe somebody new is appearing over here in a reading, this Knight of Cups, which is this lovely energy. Maybe you are realizing that you need to rebuild yourself in a new direction. It's pretty much all good. I really cannot say, yeah, sure, you're going to start this week, and this weekend might be like, ugh. We are going to check what is this all about with this Nine of Swords, because the other two cards are good. But something will have to be rebuilt, and unless you pay attention, unless you if you continue on a path where you keep getting all these doors slamming in your face, well, you know, you're going to be stuck in this like Nine of Swords, because swords have ability to get you stuck, right? So it's like you're too much in your head. So, and you're Gemini, you are the head sign, you are the sword sign. So keep that in mind. You have to get out of your head and maybe be a little flirty, right? So what do we have over here? We have melancholy, we have pleasure seekers, and we have foe. And I really think this really nicely answers this Nine of Swords. Maybe you want somebody who is otherwise engaged. Maybe you are reminiscing over a situation that somehow didn't come forward. Maybe you are making too big of an issue, an elephant of a little mouse, kind of a thing. A foe generally really talks about somebody who quote unquote is a friend. Somebody who quote unquote was to kind of like give you that soft place to fall, soft falling and understanding. But instead, maybe they were even collaborating with this person that you were trying to open up about, and you feel maybe a little betrayed because of that, right? So even double betrayed, like you were like really in a vulnerable situation and somebody took advantage of vulnerability. But guess what? Vulnerability, even though it's kind of like sucks, right, when you get injured, when you become vulnerable, it's also very rewarding, because you know, people who are really protective would come in your life. So there's like this Knight of Cups. You guys can count on romance, or you know, like, I mean, nice exchanges. Somebody telling you you're pretty, somebody telling you're really nice, somebody making such a nice gesture, somebody inviting you out, and it might be the just beginning of something really nice. So do not get stuck in this, and this person is not worthy of your time and your thoughts, because you are making and continuing to make this alive where they don't deserve it, right? And the last but not least is going to be Libra. And Libras, please, more clicks, more clicks, more comments. Here I cannot differentiate the clicks from Libra from anybody else, so please just drop a comment, Libra here, and hello, because I need to know that you're alive, that you have a pulse, because you're so close of not getting your reading the next time. And why? You're my ascendant. I connect with Libra very well. It's kind of like really natural to me to process this, always trying to find the balance. What happened? Both kitties are here. Did you dream? You know, ever since he was attacked, he kind of wakes up at night a few times and barks. I think he has a little bit of trauma. Hi, baby. Hey. Good tiger. Good boy. You're a good boy. I think there's a little bit of trauma happening there. Libra. And what is this? Are those stairs? I cannot tell, Barbie, what it is. A slide? Or the water slide? Water slide, no? You have King of Swords, which kind of like makes sense. You Okay, you have this winning card, Six of Wands. You have the Hermit reverse, so you will not want to look for any kind of wisdom. You're going to say, look, if I want to be alone, I really want to rest. Oh, I think everybody loves Libras, Barbie. Libras are very, very charming until they show you their big teeth, right? So King of Swords is the Libra dude. King of Swords is like the guy who is trying to be fair, right? But sometimes people get stuck in trying to be quote unquote too fair, right? Sometimes this is kind of like really clearly that is coming through, right? But in this combination, it is very interesting, like that I have this energy of like this is 10, this is 19, and 19 and a 9 or 28, is it? Yeah, 28, which is coming back to the Wheel of Fortune. I don't know if you guys are dealing with Sagittarians, but you're going to feel that kind of like luck energy. You're going to feel like really like this particular week you don't want to deal with heavy stuff. You feel that you really need like this is the warrior, right? Like you have these two nines. They're like something that is coming to an end. You're going to be cutting certain things off, maybe even left and right. And it's going to be in a negative way, but you're not going to feel it's negative because you're going to say, look, you know, it's like me with this woman. I just like clearly burned the bridge, but I was aware that I'm burning the bridge, right? So you might be doing the same thing. That's what usually we air signs do, even Libras, right? And that's only when you're finally entirely fed up, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, the burning a bridge, just listen to Gemini's reading, right? Over here. King of Swords is about intellect, it's about authority, strength, and fairness, right? And you feel it is my turn, it is my time, and no, I shouldn't be treated this way because you felt really you're going to be feeling really really affected. You felt maybe pushed down, right? And maybe somebody's going to say, well, you need to check yourself before you tell me. I'm going to say, I don't think so. It's going to be just like that. You're not going to be over critical, analytical. You're going to say, look, I have tried and I have tried and I have tried, but you know, I need to relax a little bit right now. I need to kind of like give thanks for everything that has happened out of the situation, and then I'm going to continue. Maybe we can resume. Maybe we can do it, but only one more time. And you do that. You're either going to make a final decision, or you're going to allow one more time. You know, it's on the last life kind of a thing. So let's see a little bit more what's happening. What's up? I'm only seeing your tail over here. Matrix is coming. Sleep here. That's right, Barbie. It's kind of like, I won. You know, like it's a situation where you cannot stop yourself of laughing when people trip and fall down. It's both sad and funny. So we always start laughing and then immediately you stop yourself because you shouldn't be laughing, but you're going to just laugh. Like that's what I see over here, Libras, right? It's like, oh no, ha ha ha, right? Like it's funny later, but it's not funny when this is happening. Oh, not to them, but it's going to be literally. You're going to feel like, oh, I cannot take it. I really need to do it, and I'll make it, kind of a thing. So let's see, Libras. No, Natasha, I'm not going in order. Barbie is going to probably place all the signs in what order they have been. There is a journey. There is a friend, an old woman. So just as I said, you might be getting rid of someone. You might say, well, here our paths are separating. I'm going here and you're going here. And they'll be looking at you and they'll be regretful of how they treated you. They will, hi Biljana, you just came at the right time, and thanks for commenting. That's exactly what they asked. Thanks. And then we have the old woman. So it almost looks like that old woman. I love this card. It just gives me such a warm and fuzzy feeling, even though this is a clearly a weirdo, right? She's like sitting in this like ridiculous chair, you know, like it's almost like walking in this like granny kind of like residence, and everything smells from moths, kind of mothballs and stuff, right? It's like literally I can smell it when I see this card, and yet it kind of gives me the sense of comfort and gives me a sense of, oh, this person lived her life. For example, it was an old lady who once gave me advice, which at the time I thought it was ridiculous, but it really worked. She said, look, when people tick you off, when you kind of like you're agitated, just roll your eyes. I said, yeah, that's your solution? She said, yes, that's my solution. So I rolled my eyes, and all of a sudden, actually, I felt much better. So you see, sometimes you never know who and where is going to give you this. So this is, to me, the card that I always associate with a good advice. And it could be an older woman, but it could be, you know, anybody who is in a position to give advice, such as like a mother, a grandmother, aunt, but it doesn't have to necessarily be a female, right? Or somebody mature, but it's going to be something positive and something reassuring. And it's also like this feeling of intuition, wisdom, right? So whether this is about relationship or that you need a special assistance at work, right? It's going to be extremely valuable advice, which is going to make you feel this victorious. And it's kind of like almost like you want to wash some kind of like bad taste out of your mouth and feel kind of like better. It almost like tells me it might be kind of like something traditional and conventional that you challenged, or that it's not happening, right? So somebody's just like letting you down, and you'll say, okay, wait a minute, these are like unwritten rules that everybody knows. It was like that scene in A Few Good Men, if you remember, when this guy was saying, well, this is the rule book, where does it say that you are going for the meals? And this guy says, well, nowhere that I can remember in the book, but still I was going 3 times a day to the canteen, right? So there are some unwritten rules that you still know and you still follow, because this is somebody that kind of like did kind of like, or maybe you're not aware of that, did a number on you, right? It's always nice, and you're like being an air sign. Friendships are also very important to you, right? And bonding, but you don't create such big bonds, for example, like Aquarius, right? For you, friendships have to be balanced and they have to be just, right? So when this reverses, it's kind of like talking about the problematic issues with a friend. It's kind of like just behavior is needed. And see, friendship is both giving and receiving. So this is like something that is really important to kind of like really look, right? It could be unfaithful friend, maybe somebody who just didn't keep a secret, or you know, you might have a huge misunderstanding of somebody who is really close to you, right? But it could be also that you might feel a little bit close and not to kind of confine in others, right? And so hence you will be just facing difficulties on your own, and it's going to be more important to you to kind of like win on surface than to kind of like come up with this big goal. But it's only one particular week, so don't obsess about this, Libra. So there you go. So yes, Barbie, tell me, did I miss anybody? Let me see. Did we get all the signs? We did Taurus, we did Aries, we did Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, Virgo, Leo, Cancer, and Gemini. Yes, yeah. We did them all. So, guys, this is what I have for today, unless Barbie tells me that I forgot something or I need to do something. And these weekly meetings are getting longer, which I obviously shows that I enjoy being with you. So I want to thank you, everybody, for being here. I want to thank moderators, and I want to thank everybody who is appreciating like this work, because even if I just help one person, I am really grateful to be given this opportunity. And hopefully you heal, and hopefully you will be able to help somebody else, and that way we build this better world. So have a safe week, guys. It's a Mercury retrograde. I'll be working on all these other signs over the weekend, so you get them all delivered to you on Monday, because nobody should be at home and watching any videos for the rest of the Saturday and Sunday. Love, love, love to everybody. I'm going to play music, and I wish you all the best, and I'll see you next week, next Saturday. Love you all the best. For Saturday coffee next Saturday. Love you.